Hey y'all, we are here for a book haul. This is my first time buying anything from Book Outlet, and I was so excited because I got many books that I have already read that I don't have in physical form, and I also got many books that I've been wanting to read in physical form. So we're going to start with the books that I have never read. So first book I have, Little Rot by Akweke and Missy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I was recommended this book by a friend of mine. And when I looked it up, I immediately was like, I'm putting this on my TBR. It sounds full of drama. It seems very sex focused, whether that be sex positive or, there's a lot of sex related things going on, or even things that consequences related to sex as well. So I'm really excited to get into this one, to be honest. Second, I've seen this book so many times in Barnes and Noble, and I was like, I took a picture of it because that's what I always do when I am not about to buy books, but I'm like, hey, I'm about to make sure I remember to get this book or read it later, at least in some other form. And that's Tia Williams, Audrey and Bash are just friends. So this is a YA. I am excited to read it. It just looks fun. Okay? It looks fun. And honestly, it's by Tia Williams. I've only read one book by Tia, but I also have another book by Tia in this stack that I have not read. Bent But Not Broken by Mary Monroe. I've heard many crazy things about this book. I'm excited to get into some crazy things. I also love a story that seems like it is dealing with very realistic themes. And this feels like it. Even just the book cover looks like I'm about to get into some very real house related shit. So I don't even know if that's what this book is about, because I've already said sometimes I don't even read synopsis. Sometimes I don't read the details. It's just like, hey, if it looks good, or if somebody tells me it's good, or if it sounds interesting because somebody gave me a 30-second description, then I'm going to put it on my list. Then we have The Leaving Room by Amber McBride. Now, I got this because just look at this cover. It is so pretty. But I have read many Amber McBride books. I've never read this one, which is why I was like, let me get this. It's affordable, it's on sale, and I ain't read it. And I love Amber McBride, which I will get into later. Now, these are the Davenports. The Davenports. I have only read the first one of these, which is why I was like, hey, they're on sale. Let me get both of them. And then I'll probably reread the first one and then get into the second one, because it's been way too long since I read the first one. And since it was on sale, why not? I love a hardcover. I know some people don't like the hardcover with the dust jacket, but hey, I don't care. I love a hardcover regardless. So I got mostly, or all of them actually, are hardcover books. I love it. This is the other Tia Williams book I got, A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. I've heard wonderful things about this book. I read 7 Days in June, and that was like, it was my introduction to Tia. It definitely wasn't a favorite, only because I wasn't a fan of the story. I was not a fan of the story, and I just didn't like where we were heading. But I'm super excited to find out about some of her other stories, because I heard great things about 7 Days in June as well. I'm excited to find out if some of these other ones that she has written are stories that are more for me. So that's why I got that one. Pretty Girl County. I've seen this book a bazillion times and have skipped past it. And since it was on sale, I was like, it's about time I go get this damn thing. I might as well. There's no reason for me to put it off because it's on sale for $6. Why am I gonna pass it up? I'm not gonna do that. Then we have Hera by Jennifer Saint. I like Jennifer Saint's writing. She's super story dense. So if you're not a fan of that, then she won't be for you. But she also just writes many mythological figures, or in this case, goddesses, or some people that aren't goddesses as well, in a way that focuses on the woman and it's from their perspective, which usually we don't get that. And it's, like I said, it's story dense. So I have read 2 or 3 of her other books. I've read Atalanta, Ariadne, and Electra. Yeah, so I've read 3 of her other books. I don't know if she has any more other than Hera, but I was like, hey, since this is on sale, let me go and get it, because it's a really interesting way to, I mean, obviously I like retellings, but it's cool to see a retelling from the perspective of the woman. I mean, obviously we've all heard of Hera, I think, but usually when we think of Hera, we think of the most one-dimensional piece of Hera, Zeus's wife, but she's more than that. And to get her story is from her perspective, from a way that's not centered on Zeus, from a way that's not centered on her kids, from a way that's not centered on her siblings, on her parents. I think this will be a really good read. Ours. This is a much thicker book than the one I saw in Barnes and Noble. So I wonder why it's so much thicker and bigger. But it's a beautiful cover. Look at that. Just like, that's beautiful to me. And honestly, it's giving thriller. I am not a super fan of thriller, but this is my kind of thrill. I don't know how to explain it. Like, thriller where like we are doing all the craziness is not my kind of thing, but racial thriller is kind of like my kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it, but this is my shit, and I'm excited to read it. Now I'm on to the stack of books that are things I have already read. I've talked about this book before many a times in some of my videos, The House of Eve. So I had to get it. It was on sale. I was like, hey, this is my chance. I wish they had Yellow Wife, but they did not have Yellow Wife. I would have gotten that too. Honestly, I would have gotten any of her books because they're all good. And that's just it. She's a mandatory author for me. Blood Like Fate is the second in a duology. I just finished this one, actually. It was really good. And I did think the first book was better, but this was a really great ending to the story, and also a cool way to end it. Like, this is nice, cool fantasy. Like, it's so interesting to see how much fantasy I'm starting to read now. Like, it is very different from what I'm used to, but hey, these writers, these authors be writing their ass off, okay? The Love Scribe by Amy Myerson. This was one of the first books I read with my partner, actually, and it was really good. It was interesting, as in, like, yes, it is kind of about love, but it's not a love story in the sense of the main character. So I liked all of the ways that the main character was weaved into the main story, I guess I should say, with a side character, because that's what this story is really about, the side character. But the main character is heavily involved with kind of finding out some shit and also aiding that side character. The Black Queen, one of my favorite books of, I think last year I read this. 5 out of 5 stars. I love this book. Okay, like this, The Black Queen was such a good book. It had me hanging on for a thread, had me wondering who did what happened, how did it happen. I was super, super dialed in on that damn book the entire time. Black Cake, if you haven't seen the show, you should watch it. I think the show is really good, but the book is also good. This is one of those things where I hate that they didn't get a second season, but this is why you gotta read, because this is a good book, and I would highly recommend it if you like stories about culture, about journey, things that transcend generations, and obviously the consequences that come with it. Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow. I mean, talk about trauma, talk about generations of women and their trauma and their interactions with their relationships with each other. I mean, this was such a great book. I just actually finished Ken. Ken broke my heart, not gonna lie to you guys. But Memphis also was, I wouldn't say it was an entirely sad read, but it definitely was hard sometimes. And especially since the main character was kind of dealing with stuff, sometimes it felt like things were swept under the rug. And then sometimes it felt like it wasn't swept under the rug, but there was just so many different relationships with different people that it was just like, there was no way that there was ever going to be justice for her, or at least in those moments. Sometimes it felt like that. But then we have Moth Me by Amber McBride. This was a great book by her as well, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get that other Amber McBride book. Their Vicious Games. This was crazy. I don't know what the hell I was expecting from this damn book, but this book was absolutely outrageous. I mean, the racial undertones, the racial discrimination, the white supremacy, and then also the misogyny. There was so much in this book that will piss you off, but if you're one of those people that likes a good ride and wants to see the main character win it all, then that's definitely a book for you. If you liked Ace of Spades, you might like it, though I think Ace of Spades is much better than this book, and they're not the same kind of concept at all, so don't compare the two necessarily. But I did enjoy Ace of Spades much more than I enjoyed this one, but this one was also really good. Gone Wolf by Amber McBride. I think this was my favorite book of 2024 when I read it. Solid. 5 out of 5 stars. This is a story that transcends all age ranges. I absolutely loved how she told this story. It was immaculate. It was beautiful. The story really just kind of took me by surprise because, I don't know, I guess it's like I know I read the synopsis for this book, but the way, it's the how for Gone Wolf. The how Amber McBride brought the story to life is why it's such a good book. Because, oh my goodness, the metaphors in the book so beautifully written. Like, it's like I was really seeing colors when I was reading this book. And obviously you can visualize a lot of things in books, but I was really just seeing and feeling everything, like, oh my goodness, like picturing what these characters looked like and the mannerisms that they portrayed in them. Just wonderful. And last but not least, I have Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. Since it was on sale, I was like, let me go get it too, because I enjoyed this one. I actually did not know Atalanta as a character super well until I read Katie Roberts' books, which this is nothing like the Atalanta, to be honest, that we are introduced to. I do like how Katie kind of brings in a little bit of the things, but this, like I said, she's a very story-dense writer, so this was really good to kind of delve deep into the mythology and the lore behind her character and her figure, actually, because I didn't know too much about Atalanta, but it was a really nice read. It kind of sucks how her ending was, but when reading books like this, if I don't know anything about the character or the figure that is being discussed, I always look it up. And I did like how she really did, she retold the story from her perspective and did her justice while still diving into some of the main points of like her mythological lore. So I really appreciated that after going to do my own research as well. But that is all I got. That is 20 books that I got from Book Outlet. I low-key wanted to buy more, but I can always wait for another sale. And there's always other sales from other sites. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next time.